Okay, good morning and welcome to Brinsbury College and the virtual open day for the Green Space Studies Department. I'm really pleased to see so many people joining us today. Just to let you know that you are being, or the session is being recorded. So if there's anything you want to check back on later, we will be putting this onto our website so you can come back and have a look at any stage. My name is Sue Reed and I am a lecturer in horticulture at Brinsbury. I'm also the study program leader for the level 2, level 3 and HNC in horticulture. If you've got any questions as we're going through, please use the Q&A facility. I think if you wobble your mouse at the bottom of the screen, that should come up. If you've got any technical issues, there's a chat facility there. You can use that and our team will see if they can help you sort those out as we go through. So, Green Space Studies is a department within the college that will help you prepare for a career working outdoors in parks and gardens, in nurseries, looking after sports pitches, golf courses. These are courses that teach you how to grow and care for plants and trees, and also to use those plants in sustainable designs. And we offer a range of courses, vocational and academic courses, from a very practical option at level 1 to a higher education offer with a level 4 HNC in horticulture or a foundation degree in sustainable food production. So the Green Space Studies courses equip you to work in the land-based industry, which is a very important industry in the UK. It's recent research has said that it's worth around £24 billion to the UK economy. So there's an awful lot of jobs and employers within it. And interestingly enough, and a great opportunity for you coming into the industry, is that employers say there is a massive skills shortage. So there are jobs waiting for qualified, well-skilled people. The college itself is located in fairly centrally in West Sussex. We're only a few minutes away from Pulborough Station and buses run backwards and forwards at a regular time. We also have college bus routes. So we have a bus coming from Crawley College, which stops at Horsham and Broadbridge Heath. We have one from Chichester, which comes via Bognor and Littlehampton, and another from Shoreham, which comes via Lancing and Worthing. So there are lots of options for travelling to college as well. And of course, if you can drive, we have quite an extensive car park, so there are parking facilities on site. So within the Green Space Studies route, there are 2 possible options of study that you might choose to go down. The first is horticulture, which essentially is the art, science, business and practical skills involved in growing and maintaining plants. And that includes things like propagation, lawn and border maintenance, plant science and identification and selection, also organic growing, sustainability, biosecurity, very, very important in the current climate. We also have the arboriculture route, which is very much focusing on trees and forestry, looking at the selection of trees, care and maintenance, things like pests and diseases and general health. So I'm going to hand you over now to my colleague Jo Groom, who is our lecturer in arboriculture, who is going to tell you about the arboriculture courses on offer.
So yeah, hello everyone. Thank you for coming and having a look at this presentation. First of all, just one quick question I get asked a lot is, what does actual arboriculture stand for? And it actually is the cultivation of trees and shrubs. Many people call it tree surgery, but that isn't actually necessarily the case, and there's so much more to it than that, that we're going to just have a brief minute just looking at what we can offer to you to get you on a career path within this industry. Can we go next slide, please? So in basic, we've got 2 routes for you to come on to. So the first route is a level 2 qualification in arboriculture. And as it says there, this is a practical course which will equip you with the key skills to begin working in the industry. And yes, it is that, but what you also need to take on board is that there is still going to be theory elements within this course as well. So please don't just think that it's just about tree climbing and chainsaw use. We would also cover tree identification within this course. We would also cover your planting of tree planting, and we would cover obviously your chainsaw use and maintenance and tree climbing skills as well. So there are good elements of practical and good elements of theory within this. Now, on successful completion of your level 2 diploma, you then have the option to actually progress on to a level 3 diploma in arboriculture. Now, the level 3 diploma does go more in depth into the topics. So you've got things there like studying of advanced forestry, woodland management, land-based machinery, and you've got employment and business management as well. Some of the other things that we'd also look at covering on this course would be ecology of woodlands, the tree value and their amenity value, tree pest and diseases, and also silviculture. And silviculture is actually the term used to describe forestry management. So we look at not just managing individual trees, but also whole forests as well. Just to give you an idea of where these two sort of courses can lead to, in theory, the level 2 qualification is more aimed towards your sort of worker status within a company. The level 3 qualification is sort of more towards your supervisory level, but we'll go on to that in just a sec. Can we have the next slide, please? Thank you. So some of the careers in arboriculture, we do have tree climbing and maintenance, tree preservation and conservation, parks and gardens, planning, and tree surveys and inspections. Now, some of the other things, just to break that down, some of the other things that would also is possible for you to progress to once you've completed some of these courses. You could work for the local council and be a tree surveyor. So you go around to all the parks, gardens and street trees, inspect their trees and recommend works. You could also become a forestry worker. So you're working solely in the forest, looking at forest thinning and management schemes. You could go into teaching, as I did myself. So you could look at becoming a trainer. And you could also look at starting your own company up and actually managing your own staff and producing tree work to whatever standard you want to, based on what you've covered within these two courses. Very briefly, just if you wanted to apply to either of these courses, we do have obviously a minimum GCSE requirement for each course, which I think if you want to actually find out more about it, you can ask a question within the chat and we can answer it later for you. But yeah, that's generally arboriculture and what we can cover. I think the next slide is yours, Sue.
Lovely, thank you very much, Joe. So I'm going to talk about the horticulture courses. So we offer a range of courses in horticulture, starting at level 1, which is a very practical course looking at the key skills in the horticultural industry, so things like border maintenance, lawn care, an introduction to hard landscaping, building patios and walls, very important in domestic gardens. Then progressing on to the level 2, where we start to introduce the plant science side and soil science, some elements of garden design as well, and a little bit more theory on the level 2 course. Some really interesting practical projects on the go for next year. We'll be looking at water gardens. We'll also be looking at organic gardening as well. The level 3 diploma is a more academic course, although it has a high element of practical skills in there, so probably 50% practical, 50% academic, and will equip you to go out into the industry at a supervisory or junior management level. So that's our further education offer. We then have 2 higher education courses, a level 4, which is an HNC in horticulture, and this includes advanced plant science and soil science, botany, production horticulture, so looking at the production industry, plant nutrition as well, and our foundation degree, which we'll be offering from 2021 in sustainable food production. We also run the RHS level 2 certificate, the principles course, which is a theory course, giving you a really good overview into the horticulture subject area, and the RHS practical course as well. And we have a whole range of horticulture apprentices. We work with a lot of local employers, and we provide all the underpinning knowledge and training for the apprenticeship schemes. So, having qualified in the horticultural area, there are a whole host of careers you can go into, and this is just a few headings to give you some ideas. So you could work in the landscaping area, hard landscaping and soft landscaping as well, so putting down lawns, creating new borders, as well as hard landscaping features like patios and walls. You could get a job in parks and gardens, whether maintaining them, planning them, managing people within them. You could go into garden design. If you're interested in turf and lawns and the sports side, you could look at greenkeeping or sports turf. Production horticulture is a huge area, particularly in West Sussex along the Chichester Plain. You might have seen all the glass houses there, which are massive salad growers, peppers, fruit, all supplying across the UK and Europe, and have a lot of vacancies and interesting jobs there, looking at maintaining those plants, nutrition, how to get the best possible crop yield. And of course, plant health, very, very important in the current climate as we go out of Europe. Biosecurity is going to be absolutely critical, and there will be far more job roles involved in that area as well. So I thought it might be useful to show you a few of our old students to see where they are now, just to give you an idea of some of the jobs. So starting on the far left, we have Adam, who completed a level 3 diploma with us and is currently working as a project manager at Graduate Landscapes. So he's involved in all sorts of interesting builds, mainly in domestic gardens. Will Williams, you may have heard of. Will is quite a well-known garden designer, and he's done quite a lot of work at Chelsea and been on various TV programmes as well. Eleanor set up her own professional garden design and maintenance company, and runs a very successful blog with lots of really interesting information and tips. And Lewis is the manager of a garden centre. We also have Louis, who's working as a landscaper, Anne Harrod, who's working as a self-employed professional gardener, and Ben, who again completed the level 3 diploma with us and then went on to do a degree in landscape architecture. So just a snapshot of the sort of careers that are out there, and just some ideas of things that you could progress onto. Okay, so unfortunately, you can't be with us today. We'd love to show you around the campus, but we have put together a short video just to give you a taster. So bear with me while I bring that up. Right, so we're really, really delighted at the college that we have such fantastic facilities. We have over 500 acres. I'm just going to show you a very short clip today of the main bits that we work in horticulture and arboriculture. All our lawns and borders are maintained by students. This is our main Brinsbury house with a whole load of classrooms, and the horticulture classroom is on the far left there. We have some excellent glass houses where we carry out a lot of propagation and look after the care and maintenance of our plants. This is our education house, which has a heated and mist bench, and we try to keep it at a reasonable temperature to maintain all our newly developed plants. We also have a lot of stock plants which we use for identification, planting practice, pruning practice, and here's Jim doing a little bit of work at the moment, having a tidy up of those trees. And now we're in the potting shed. This is Georgie, who is our technician. This is an area where we would be doing seed sowing, taking cuttings, looking at leaf cuttings, root cuttings, and obviously all the material and tools that are required are supplied by the college. This is our landscaping tunnel. So you can see that we've had some work here done by former students building some walls, and there's a patio in there as well. It's a nice covered area. And then all of our students learn how to look after and maintain and use tools safely. following the correct risk assessments. This is our machine workshop. Particularly if you're on the arboriculture course, you will be working at carrying out tool maintenance, chainsaw maintenance, understanding how this equipment works. And here's Joe doing a little bit of work in the workshop. We're really lucky at Brinsbury to have a heritage orchard. We have over 50 different varieties of apples in the orchard, and our students learn how to prune and care for the apple trees here. We also have a really beautiful arboretum with quite a wide variety of trees that we use for tree identification and selection, also climbing as appropriate for the arboriculture students, and understanding the care and the health of trees, looking particularly at pests and disease. I thought it might be interesting for you to have a look at the classroom. This is the horticulture classroom. As you can see, it's a nice, light, airy and spacious classroom. We've got some really good facilities here. You can see this is a little bit of some of the soil science that people have been working on, plant identification there. Lovely. And we finish on our outstanding sign. And of course, we have just been rated outstanding by Ofsted, so we are very, very proud of that. Okay, let's return to the presentation. Lovely. So just before we progress on to any questions, I just wanted to talk about the study programme that we offer at Brinsbury. And we have a whole host of additional support which really contributes to our outstanding provision. So the first part of your study programme is the vocational course itself. So whether that be our horticulture or arboriculture. You will also have the opportunity to continue to study maths and English to achieve that grade or that level 4, if you haven't already got that. All of our students in further education are asked to take up work experience. So you carry out work experience on site, but also getting an external placement. And we ask you to sort that out with a local employer, and we can point you in the right direction to do that. We also have built into the study programme some really strong links with local employers and industry. And we have a lot of visitors into the college, which gives you a chance to find out about the careers that are out there, but also to make some really good contacts. And we have a lot of trips going on as well, to different employers, to parks, to gardens, to taking part in competitions, to give you that well-rounded experience. Our ACES programme, which stands for Attitudes, Careers, Employability and Skills, is a really important part of the programme, and that helps build on your employability skills, getting you ready to go into the workplace or onto further study or higher education. And we have a very active student union as well, which has lots of trips throughout the year and charity events and fun activities on the go. Just a couple of pictures of some of the trips there. This is a group of students that we took to Kew Gardens, an amazing trip. In the middle we have, I think that was at Nyman's and Hancross, which is a really beautiful garden we're very lucky to have on our doorstep. And some of Joe's students taking part in a climbing competition. Okay, so before we just wind up now, I just wanted to see if we've got any questions. So Jim, you've been monitoring the Q&A. Is there anything that has come up that we need to answer? I don't think we've got Jim there. Jim, if you can hear me, you need to unmute your...
Hello. I'm here. Sorry, I was just in the middle of typing an answer.
Okay, Jim, so have we got any questions that we can answer for...
Yeah, we've had some excellent questions this morning, so I'll just pull up. So we have... Oh, sorry, my phone slipped there. We've got a question from an anonymous attendee that says, "Hi, I'm in my late 20s. Can I do arboriculture or horticulture?"
Well, I think the answer to that is yes, certainly.
Exactly.
Get in touch, and we'd love to discuss it with you.
And we've had another question from another anonymous attendee saying, do you have part-time courses in either of these areas? And I've explained that we do RHS and asked you to give a little bit more detail on that, if possible, please, Sue.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, our RHS course is a level 2 certificate provided by the RHS but delivered by Brinsbury, and the courses are running 1 day a week for half a day throughout the academic year. On top of that, we also run some short courses, some sort of leisure courses at weekends as well.
Fantastic. We had a question asking what the size of the classes are like at Brinsbury.
Excellent, that's a really good question. We're really lucky that we have relatively small class sizes, so typically around 12 or 15 students. And you saw from the class that we've got plenty of room in there, so it's all very spacious. It also means that we've got a lot of space when we're working outside and room to work, and everybody gets sufficient tools and equipment they need.
Wonderful, thank you, Steve. We've got a question for you, Joe. We've got, can I do arboriculture with no GCSEs?
Unfortunately not. I mean, what we'd have to look at if the learner had any other qualifications that we could use. In basic, what we look at for your level 2 qualification, we're looking at 3 GCSEs at grades 3 or above. And then for your level 3 qualification, we're looking for 4 GCSEs at grades 4 and above. But like I said, what we can do is we can look at if there's any other qualifications that learner holds that we could use to satisfy our entry requirements. It could be possible also if the learner was slightly older and they could justify why they're having the GCSEs, it would be possible maybe to set them some work to complete, just so that we can see what sort of level their sort of reading and writing skills are at. So it's not a no, but we would just have to look into it a bit deeper.
Okay. Can I just add to that as well? The other option in that sort of situation is to come on to our level 1 horticulture course, which will give you a really good grounding. You'll also get involved in the tree and forestry side, and it'll give you a chance to sort of build on your academic skills, and then we can have a look and see whether progressing on to a level 2 is the right thing for you at that stage.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we've got a few more questions. So we've answered this in the presentation. We've got a question, what kind of career can I have in either of these courses? So I know there's some excellent information on the presentation. What I've suggested, Sue, is that we will either send out on Twitter or put on the presentation some links to some websites, because there's some fantastic websites out there. And there are so many different interesting careers in horticulture that I really feel it would be good for people to be able to explore it in their own time. And we can always answer questions about specific industries if people find something that they'd like some more information about. But I don't know if you'd like to add something more about types of careers available in horticulture.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Jim. It is a huge area, and that's one of the beauties of it. There are so many different pathways you can follow, whether you're interested in the science side or the practical side. If you want to travel the world hunting for plants, there are roles available in all of those arenas. So yes, I think putting some links out would certainly be a really good idea.
Okay, so we'll go with that. That's great. We've got, how much theory work do we do in horticulture?
That's a really good question. It depends what level you come onto. At level 1, it's very much a practical course. Obviously, there is some theory, but we try to make it as practical as possible. At level 2, we're introducing quite a bit more theory. So I would say we're probably 40% theory, 60% practical. And at level 3, it's probably 50-50.
Okay, and we've got the same question, but regarding arboriculture, Joe. So is there much theory work in arboriculture?
Yeah, sort of same comment to Sue, really. So at level 1, you know, mostly practical with a little bit of theory. Level 2 does bunk up a little bit. So yeah, I'd probably say sort of 40-60, maybe 50-50-ish. And the same with the level 3, really. And the thing is because obviously they're government funded courses, they're required to be a good amount of theory within them as well. So yeah, roughly 40 to 60% on the level 2 and 50-50 on level 3.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
Yeah. Sorry, Jim, can I just add on that? It's really important that you get the underpinning knowledge, that you understand why you're doing something and how that applies within the industry. And that will obviously help you in your future careers or future study. Sorry, Jim.
No, no problem at all. So we've got a question that I'm sure lots of people are wondering, which is, will the courses be starting as normal in September?
Excellent question. Yes. Well, as far as we know, we are planning for September. So we have made some really good provision for that. You saw when we showed you the classroom that we have excellent spacing in there. So we will easily be adhering to the government guidelines on social distancing. And because we are such a huge campus, we have a lot of space to operate in. And I think we will be focusing on a lot of the practical work from the September start, which will mean that we are outdoors a lot of the time, which will obviously minimise any risk. So we will be going ahead in September as planned at the moment.
Okay, thank you, Steve. I have a question. What's the difference between level 2 and RHS level 2, or are they the same thing? So full-time level 2 course or an RHS level 2 course? Okay,
so the RHS is a part-time course. It's often it's a self-funding course. You can't obtain any government funding for it. So if you're coming directly from school, you would have to pay for that course yourself. The level 2 course is run over 3 days. You probably get a lot more practical experience on the full-time level 2 course, rather than the RHS course, because everything is condensed into quite a short time frame. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an idea. If anybody's interested specifically in both those courses, it might be a good idea to get in touch and we can have a chat with you and look at your individual needs.
And if anybody's wondering what RHS stands for, it's the Royal Horticultural Society. I've got a question for you, Joe, from Fiona Broad. How many days is the arboriculture course run over?
So all our full-time courses are roughly about possibly 3.5 days long in total within the week. The reason why there's a slight differentiation is because depending on what English and Math GCSEs the student has, they might have to attend some English and Math classes while they're here as well. So that's why there's a slight differ. The other days really should be dedicated to either work experience or self-study. Obviously, within our courses, there is going to be a good element where we teach the theory elements to the learner, but ultimately we have to assess that. It can't all be assessed at college, so there will be a lot of written work to be completed at home by the learner. So that's why there's that sort of day and a half, not free, but not at college, to be able to complete that other work as well. And like I said, and also to carry out work experience. Most of the courses that we run have about 100 to 150 work experience hours to complete while they're on the course as well.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Joe. What PPE would students need to buy for arboriculture, Joe?
Well, all the courses, including the horticulture courses, really the student needs to come with good all-weather clothing, because also we're going to be working outside in all weathers. They also need to have a good set of working gloves and metal cap boots, and that would pretty much sort you out for the horticulture courses. Now for the arboriculture courses, there is a little bit more to gain. So because we complete chainsaw practice, the learner will need to get their own personal protective equipment for chainsaw use. Now that is probably going to cost around about £400 at the expense of the learner. Now I wouldn't recommend rushing out and buying anything at the second, because you might end up buying something not quite right. Within the first sort of week of your attendance on the course, I'll go through what equipment you're going to need to purchase. There is also, I believe, for students under 19, through the student tutor, they're actually able to get a small grant to actually help buy some of this protective equipment as well. But yeah, it's probably worth saving up a few pennies from now, so that we can get going on the start of the course. So obviously we have a small amount of protective equipment to lend out, but not everything.
Okay, thank you, Joe. That's great. And I think this might be the last question I have. And probably for you, Sue, are the fees for all the courses on the website?
That's a really good question. I'm not sure, but if there's any specific question, please do get in touch. Courses, further education courses for those under 19 are obviously funded. Over 19, if you have specific questions, we can deal with those. And on the screen in front of you, hopefully you've got my email address. So please do email me any questions, and our website address is on there as well.
Yeah, and there are different payment options, aren't there, Sue, for over 19s?
Absolutely, yes. And also there are loans available. There are advanced learner loans available, or if you're looking at the higher education provision, obviously there's the government student loans are available as well.
Okay, I believe that's all the questions.
Okay.
So thank you very much to everyone who's taken the time to ask a question.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Some excellent questions. And as I say, if you do have any more questions, you think of anything else, please make a note of my email address and just drop me a line, and we'll deal with anything that you thought of. So just to sum up before we close down this session, we are taking applications now for September. So you can apply via the website www.brinsbury.ac.uk, or just email me as well, and I can point you in that direction. I am very proud of the courses that we offer at Brinsbury. We are an outstanding college. You can read our recent Ofsted report, and I think we offer a fantastic range of horticulture and arboriculture courses that will equip you to work or study in the lands-based industry. So please put in your application now. We look forward to seeing you in September and showing you around in person. Thank you very much.